So now, I'm going to get into the real meat of what's been happening over the last couple days. And that's something that a lot of people have been talking about. This story took a topic not a lot of people are into and kind of broke it into the mainstream, which is, of course, the Bayonetta 3 Hellena Taylor drama. So, if you really have not heard of this, it's been a pretty big ongoing story. Let me just get a fucking... see if I can get like an article or something. I was just gonna mention this off the top of the dome, but it wouldn't hurt to have something up to reference. So essentially, Bayonetta 3 is coming out, and one of the things that that people noticed was, hey, Bayonetta has a new voice actress. The voice actress for Bayonetta was always Hellena Taylor, a lady named Hellena Taylor, British woman, background in theater. And what's interesting to me, actually, is that Bayonetta 1 had no Japanese dub. It was just in English, which I think is really interesting. So people were kind of like a little confused, a little upset that she didn't get the role back, but that she wasn't recast, or that the character was recast, because Hellena Taylor is such an iconic depiction of that character. Platinum put out an official statement around the time that happened, just saying that their schedules didn't match up. Well, Hellena Taylor herself, just a couple weeks away from the game's release, came out and made a series of videos on Twitter telling her side of the story, apparently breaking NDA. But she didn't care. And what she revealed was a lot more interesting. According to her, she said that Platinum offered her $4,000. She said a total of $4,000 for the whole game. And mind you, this is a game that's going to have, I think, 3 characters that would all be voiced by her. Would have all been voiced by her, because there's like 3 Bayonettas. So $4,000 for that much voice work is pretty fucking stiff. That's a really shitty deal. I saw various different sources that had, I'm sure, these numbers change depending on production and time and, what's going on. I'm sure there's a bunch of different factors to it. But I did hear at least one person say that an extra on a TV show can make more than that for like 2 hours of work. So, like, I don't know how true that is. And again, depending on the show or the union or whatever they're part of, might be different. So, actually, the story was that the story as she told it was that $4,000 was actually not the initial offer. The initial offer was actually lower. And then she wrote a letter to Hideki Kamiya, vice president of Platinum, creator and producer of the Bayonetta series, excuse me, and asked him for a higher salary, or for a higher pay. And he said $4,000. So she was making this, and she asked fans to boycott the game. That was what was really controversial, I think. Or one of the things that I felt made it more controversial was asking people not to give their money to the game. Now, this was a very odd story, even initially, because there were things that just with her account felt strange. So number one, you got to think. So the story was, as I first heard it, was Nintendo didn't want to pay her. That's not true. that doesn't really check out, and it doesn't check out because Well, number one, Nintendo does not do the casting. Platinum does the casting. Nintendo is the publisher of the game, so they are going to put money down for, the game's budget, but they do not necessarily decide who gets what payment. This is really Platinum's offer to her. Second of all, so the reason that this doesn't make sense for being like a money thing, like they didn't want to pay her, is that they replaced her with Jennifer Hale, who, if you don't know, is Shepard from Mass Effect. Fem Shep from Mass Effect. She's like a fucking powerhouse voice actor. Let's just look up some of her other roles. Because again, I'm not even a fucking voice actor guy, so. Jennifer Hale, she played, if you just look her up, she's played a billion fucking roles. Baldur's Gate, Mass Effect, Metal Gear Solid, Bioshock Infinite, Metroid Prime, Overwatch, Star Wars KOTOR. And not minor roles either. She's Ash in Overwatch. She's, let's see. Just show me the Hale roles. Just show me the. She's a voice actress. So she's done a billion fucking things. She's Chronica in MK11. She's done a Bastilla. Oh, she's Bastilla? That's the Bastilla Shan. That's the, oh my god, KOTOR. That's that Jedi girl, right? Oh, I fucking hate her. Jesus, I hate that character. But yeah, she's played a bunch of roles. She's a big name voice actress. So there is no chance in hell that Jennifer Hale is getting paid $4,000. They didn't replace Hellena Taylor with some scab who's going to do the work for half the price off the street. No, they replaced her with like a big name, a comparably much bigger name. So the pay doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that they were being stingy. So then you go, oh, is it because she was in a union? That doesn't really hold up because every other voice actor in the game is part of the same union. Same union as Hellena Taylor, SAG-AFTRA. And Jennifer Hale might even be, I think so. The point is that it also wasn't a union thing. So that wasn't an issue. So you're like, what other reason would they have for not working with her, right? Like, that's weird. Like, because that's ultimately what this comes down to. Because that offering her $4,000 flat, that's like a spiteful thing. That's like, you just want her out, right? That is the obvious reading of that, is that they just didn't want to work with her, and so they gave her an insultingly low offer so that she would, get out and they could replace her. Why would you want to replace her? She's an iconic part of the series, and she's probably not going to ask for as much as Jennifer Hale. So already on day one, I was seeing things like, something had to have happened. Something must have happened behind the scenes from one party to the other that soured their relationship in some way. We don't know. I'm actually glad that I didn't talk about this last week, because this was definitely a situation that I think it was good to wait a week or something to talk about, because it's one of those things where something is going to come out. There's going to be a response. I go, but whenever a major news event happens, I call it the 48-hour rule. Actually, I ripped this off from my dad, which is just, the 48-hour rule is pretty simple. It's just that you wait 48 hours after the initial story breaks, because that's enough time for someone to make the statement, for people to have an initial reaction plus digging around to investigate that statement. Then, for anyone that they made the statement about to write up some kind of a response, to make some kind of a response. So you get a much bigger... if you just wait 48 hours, I will guarantee you in most cases you will get a much better idea of what actually happened than just jumping straight to what whatever your first knee-jerk reaction is. But hey, you know, there's a rant in here about social media wanting people, incentivizing people to just have the hottest, most inflammatory take as soon as possible so they can get fleeting internet fame or something like that. But yeah. So the initial fallout of this, I was like, okay, maybe it's good to wait off. Let me wait and see what happens. What did not help Platinum's case is that Hideki Kamiya had a very bad reaction to this. So Kamiya's always had this kind of character, quote unquote, that he's played on Twitter of he just blocks everyone and he's a big internet jerk tough guy, right? And it's most people think it's kind of amusing, it's kind of funny. Oh, he blocks everyone. That's kind of funny. He has a block list longer than the freaking Bible at this point. And because he has these rules, right? He has these rules for what you can and can't. He doesn't want you to tweet at him in any language that's not Japanese. Which, okay, why do you tweet in English then? All right. He's always had this kind of like, he would really come off like a dick if people didn't like the games he was making. But for now, it's tentatively all fine and dandy until you have a big controversy and people are asking you, hey, what the fuck? And then when you keep that shtick up, oh, maybe it wasn't a shtick. Maybe he kind of is a big dick and he's being an asshole. Maybe that was for real. Because he started, obviously, people start tweeting at him saying, what is this? Like, what the fuck happened? What's going on? Why did you do that? Because a lot of people took her story at face value and said, what the heck? And he got really annoyed and started blocking everyone. And for some reason, his account got suspended and then removed and then reinstated. I don't know what that was about. It happened over like 24 hours. Really weird. Like, was it because he was blocking a bunch of people? Was it because, like, what happened? Was it just people false reporting him, maybe? No clue. But he's back now. I wonder what he's tweeted recently. Excuse me. What was his most recent tweets? Mina, Ohio. He just said good morning, everyone. Yeah, he hasn't said very much. Next, so there was another interesting development in this. That was where it was. It was, oh my god, Kamiya's the villain. Everyone support Hellena Taylor. And then there was an interesting wrinkle to the story. Not so much a wrinkle as a development. So a story breaks from a couple different news sources. Specifically Bloomberg, actually. So someone from Platinum anonymously sent Bloomberg some kind of contract statements or documents that revealed what the actual negotiation process was between Hellena Taylor and Platinum Games. And it was, let's say, not exactly what Taylor claimed it was. She said they offered me a insultingly low sum, and then they raised it to $4,000 for the whole game. According to these documents, which not public, not sourced, because that's, it was they didn't anonymously send them. They reached out, but they were kept anonymous by the article. Because, yeah, obviously, you can't just go leaking private company documents. So, according to these documents, Taylor actually, their initial offer was $3,000 to $4,000 per session for, and the wording on this I found very specific, at least 5 sessions. At least 5 sessions. $3,000 to $4,000 per session for at least 5 sessions. So, if you're going to lowball that and just say 5 sessions at $3,000, that's $15,000. Already over 3 times what she claimed it was. If you're going to highball it and say 4,000 for 5 sessions, minimum, $20,000. So if she got $4,000, which I don't think is unreasonable, that she could have negotiated for $4,000, or an extra $1,000 per session, or the high end of that, seeing as she is playing 3 characters, $20,000 at minimum, which is pretty different from $4,000. Pretty different statements. Taylor, kind of important, kind of an important distinction, actually. And now people will argue about whether or not that's an appropriate amount of money. I'm not a voice actor. I don't know what her personal finances are. I don't know the ins and outs of the sales of the series. So I am not in a position where I can really make a statement on whether or not $20,000 for that amount of work is reasonable for being a union worker and for her stature and for her importance to the series. I don't know. So I'm not in a position to make any kind of statement or judgment of that. But what I can say is that is a very different story from a flat $4,000 fee. And these were independently confirmed to be legitimate by Bloomberg, by multiple other people who saw the documents, including someone like Jason Schreier. I know people don't like Jason Schreier for this or that reason. I saw some dumb arguments like, he blocks people who don't agree with him. It's like, yeah, it's fucking dumb that he blocks people who have mild disagreements with him about video games. But the actual reporting work that he does, I think has been really exemplary of what should be done more in this industry. People just don't want to fucking like him, so they just jump to I don't know. They take one thing and use it to discredit something totally unrelated. I think it's stupid. He also confirmed that they were true. These documents were real. So unless Bloomberg's wrong, unless he's wrong, unless everyone else who actually looked at the documents were wrong, the situation is a lot stranger. The fact that it's not even a question. She lied, right? She straight up lied about what it was. And if she didn't lie, and if you want to kind of bend her words into saying, well, when she said 4,000, they thought I was worth $4,000. What she actually meant was $4,000 for a minimum for per session for at least 5 sessions. If you want to claim that's what everyone read into, I mean, go ahead. I think she lied. I read that as an intentional bending of the truth to make it look like they really stiffed her on the money. Like they really did some kind of a thing to her. There were some other weird parts to her videos, namely knowing what we know now, there's a bit where she kind of some people called it throwing Jennifer Hale under the bus. She says something to the effect of like, they can have some new girl stroll in and take the role that I created. And it's like, you know, when the story was still that they offered you $4,000, maybe that sounded a little more justified. Now it sounds kind of a little strange, a little weird and bitter coming from you, Hellena. That you would just, to refer to Jennifer Hale, this like really renowned voice actress, as just some new girl coming in and taking my role, that fucking bitch. Very weird, and it lends like a weird kind of like emotionally charged element to it that, I don't know, changes the dynamic a little bit. Another thing that came from, oh goodness, I don't remember who. It was a very well-known like mainstream voice actor who basically made a tweet thread or something on Reddit where he basically said that when you're in this business and you are taking over a role from someone, like there's a sequel and it's a character who has like an established voice actor, and you're taking over the role from them, it is due diligence, supposedly. It's according to him, it's your due diligence to reach out to that person and let them know and maybe like ask them how they feel about it. Because, you know, this unfortunately happens all the time. People get replaced for whatever reason. But if you have some kind of class and you're a professional, you will go and reach out and in his words, do your due diligence. Because you want to keep good relationships. You don't want to be the bad guy. You just want to fucking roll, you know? And according to him, Jennifer Hale is I believe he knows her personally, and said that she 100% always does that. She will always do that if she's taking over someone else's role. She'll always check in with them to make sure that there's no bad blood or anything between them. So the fact that Taylor is claiming this like insult to her, and Hale still took the role and never made any kind of statement or anything, is weird. It's really weird. The fact that she's lying casts a lot of doubt on her whole story. There's also this strange part where she just quotes the Bible for like an entire video, and it's like a whole minute. I don't know. I got a weird vibe out of that bit. I don't know if anyone else did, but I thought it was strange, but I kind of brushed it off. As just that's just her thing, but adding some kind of like weird biblical thing to it was odd. Platinum has now made a statement. They've issued an official statement. It reads on Twitter, "We at Platinum Games offer our sincerest appreciation to everyone who has contributed to creating the Bayonetta series over the years, as well as the community that has served as its foundation. We give our full support to Jennifer Hale as the new Bayonetta and align with everything in her statement." I will check out Jennifer Hale. Did Jennifer Hale make a statement? We'll find this. We'll discover this all ourselves. We're going to discover it live. "We ask people to please refrain from any further comments that would disrespect Jennifer or any of the other contributors to the series." Hale's statement. Here it is. Okay. About Bayonetta 3. So, Hale made this statement. Let's read it. "With regards to Bayonetta 3, as a longtime member of the voice acting community, I support every actor's right to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have great respect for my peers and that I am an advocate for all members of the community. I am under an NDA and am not at liberty to speak regarding the situation. My reputation speaks for itself. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people, and I hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. Finally, I hope that everyone involved may resolve their differences in an amicable and respectful way. With love and respect to you all, Jennifer Hale. So, obviously she's under NDA. She can't say anything specifically right now. Oh, I completely forgot, actually, to mention that part of that Bloomberg article, part of those documents that came out, was not just that, because that was their initial offer, was the 3,000 to 4,000 for minimum 5 sessions per session for minimum 5 sessions, at least 5 sessions. What I didn't mention was that it also included the details of the negotiation, because Taylor came back and she said that that wasn't enough. She wanted what they claimed was a 6-figure salary. So a 6-figure salary and residuals. Now again, I am not a voice actor. I'm not in the business. I have no real opinion on the size. I can't really size up whether or not that's reasonable. I can say that in her video, the fact where she said that the Bayonetta series, it felt like she was slightly exaggerating the amount of money the Bayonetta series had made. Just a little bit, about like how many millions of dollars it was worth. It's like, yeah, but Platinum's kind of a dinky shit little company. Yeah. She thought she needed she deserved a 6-figure salary plus residuals. So residuals meaning that she's going to get a portion of the sales. I don't know how reasonable that is, but Platinum did not think that it was reasonable. So what I'm curious about is that when she says she wrote a letter to Hideki Kamiya, can she share that letter? I mean, she wrote it. That shouldn't be under NDA. Can she just share that letter and what he replied with? Because as far as I know, as far as anyone knows, again, she could have just made that up. She or again bent the like that could have been another bending of the truth of like when they sent back that she didn't that they didn't think that they didn't want to give her that much. So yeah, let's just see. I don't think there's anything I missed from this. Oh yeah, so this article pretty much just runs down the whole thing, just making sure I didn't miss anything. It's a complicated situation because there's a lot that has not been said. Oh yeah, here's what she said. Taylor's claimed that the Bayonetta series has brought in $450 million in revenue, which is probably just wrong. Probably just straight up incorrect. Yeah. So again, weird. So maybe that's just her not being... That could also be a lie, because again, you lied once. Did you go lie again? Or it could just be her not knowing. You really can't tell at this point, because she's already crossed the line of veering into malice, essentially. Yeah, I mean, the fact that she couldn't really provide any evidence for anything she said, I mean, she's already breaking NDA. The fact that she can't give any kind of proof of, like, the documents or anything like that is really fucking suspicious. So, and then, I don't know, the idea of, like, boycotting, the boycott thing might have been, I saw it as, like, potentially justified at the time, because she I'm not opposed to the idea that someone might, like, say something inflammatory to get people talking, that maybe she assumed that people weren't going to care that much about it unless she called for something kind of dramatic, like a boycott. And so she was using that as a almost marketing thing, or something, a word of mouth. Start some kind of a movement. Hashtag boycott Bayonetta 3 or something like that. But excuse me. Now it just, everything comes off super weird and odd in her initial videos, her accusations. And it's a shame, because this is a decent, it provides a ground for a decent conversation to have, which is that voice actors are very underpaid and under recognized. Acting is an incredibly difficult job in terms of like having steady employment, and voice actors even more so, because the truth is that most people don't even really care about like voice actors. There's this kind of thing that like, oh, in Japan celebrities are voice actors. Voice actors are like celebrities. That's kind of true. It's more true than it is here, but really a lot of that is there's a lot more big names in Japan, and there's a lot of people who are like just voice acting veterans who are, it's a slightly more of a thing. But for just like even a voice actor with like a decent portfolio, yeah, it's pretty much the same as like the America. It's not some like voice actor paradise or like Hollywood or something like that. It's just slightly better if you have like a veteran status, essentially. Because there was recently a thing with like the voice actor for Mob Psycho 100 was passed up to reprise the role for the English voice actor. Passed up to reprise the role for season 3 of the show. Really unfortunate. And I think that was a case where that was actually more likely that it was the fact that he was in a union. 'Cause fucking Crunchyroll. And this kind of thing happens all the time, really. Voice actors are seen as very disposable. They don't have much of a face, kind of like actors do. That might be part of it. I think maybe we just don't see voice actors with the same kind of empathy, perhaps, that we get with traditional live action actors, just because we don't have the face and the physical aspect to kind of recognize them by. Funny enough, I was playing more New Vegas, right? Fucking Liam O'Brien is everywhere in that game. That dude he voices like 100 characters. It's ridiculous. It's to the point where I took like a side quest, and the character I took a side quest from Liam O'Brien, and the side quest requires me to go talk to a guy standing 20 feet away who is also Liam O'Brien. I'm like, what the fuck? I was in a side quest where I'm having a conversation, or I'm listening to a conversation between Liam O'Brien and Liam O'Brien. And I'm like, what the... There's no... What? How... Do you just voice everyone in this game? He has a very recognizable, like, kind of intensity in his voice. I'm Akihiko. Nice to meet you. That's what he sounds like. And even when he's putting on a voice, right, he still has that just quality in his performance that it's in every single voice he does. So yeah, the Bayonetta 3 situation, it's unfortunate. It speaks, I think, very poorly of Hellena Taylor, and makes her come out really shady looking. Kamiya's response is, see, a lot of people messed up. First of all, Hellena Taylor fucked up by lying. I don't even know, like, what was her intentions behind doing that? Like, did she want to maybe gain some notoriety? Because here's the thing, is that I feel like now her reputation in the voice acting industry is fucking burned. She said she wanted to go more into theater, but like even then, like fucking like if you're looking at casting, are you really gonna like, you're gonna look at her and you're like, oh, the situation was she demanded 6 figures, and when we said we couldn't give her that, she made like a public stink about it and lied and told about how much we offered her, and then tried to get people to boycott this thing she was gonna be in. Ugh, no, we're fucking passing you up. We're not even gonna look at you for this role. That's what I'd do if I was a casting coach or casting director. I don't know if that applies to theater, if those worlds are, if they have any kind of crossover where that news would get there, but yeah, huge reputational damage. And like, for what? Like, what did you get out of this? What did she didn't even ask for people to like donate to her or anything. It was just that's why it seemed so strange. It was like, well, what does she get out of this? That was one of the things that was in her favor when this all started, was, well, what does she get out of it? She's breaking NDA. She's not asking for money or anything. She's just supposedly telling the truth about what happened because she was incensed about it. She took a huge amount of issue with the way that she was treated, and she wanted to speak out on, like, for, a moral reason. And then all this comes out, and it's like, what was the purpose? What was the purpose of all this? I saw some, like, weird things where people were like, because people on the internet, they love to pick one thing that you said from, like, from years ago, and I don't know, just bad behavior. Like, she said some vaguely kind of like turf adjacent things 3 years ago, which was definitely like kind of eyebrow raising, like, oh, what did you mean by that? And people were instantly, before it came out that she lied about it, people were using that. I saw some people using that as like a thing to say, like, actually, fuck her. She doesn't deserve to get paid because she doesn't like trans people. I'm gonna buy the game against what she wants. Just like, fucking, okay. I mean, I guess that's your choice, but I don't know, this like jump to like, hey, you said something you said you had a bad opinion sort of like kind of 3 years ago. I don't care that you were mistreated, you deserved that. I don't know, I feel like it's very short-sighted moralizing. And then Kamiya's response was just terrible, to just fucking go on a incredibly unprofessional, like, if there's any time to drop the act, it's now, unless it's not an act, which it might not be. He really just should not have said anything. Just maybe put down Twitter for a little while. You're the VP of the company. Excuse me. Work with your marketing. Work with your PR people. Like just don't make yourself look bad. Oh my god, I'm sure the PR department was tearing their fucking hair out while he was doing that. Yeah, bad responses and bad behavior from pretty much everyone. I don't think Platinum themselves was super in the wrong here, but on an individual level, I think that a lot of this did not have to happen. This did not have to happen in many ways. This was, the info about her, they were very amicable about what happened when they put out that initial statement about how, oh, scheduling conflicts, it didn't work out. That's a very amicable way to kind of just move on, right? Like, we're not gonna out you for maybe being a little fucking asking for a little much, and yeah, having a little bit of an ego. Someone in theater being a bit of a diva? Who would have guessed? Yeah, I don't know if I have really any more thoughts about it besides yeah. R.A.P. Bozo? So yeah, pretty much. That's what I have to say on it.